Hi, it's the girl out there, right here with you. It's me, Cindy, and it is Dear Diary.
Hello, everyone in the house.
Woo, woo, woo. This is actually round 2 of podcast.
Don't admit to technical difficulties. Just focusing on the negative.
Well, actually, I feel like this is a positive because we're gonna do this so much better. Then
now we're polished.
We're really good. And I'm just laughing because earlier today you had the light on you, and when we were doing it earlier, I had the light, the actual natural light on me, and so I was like, oh yeah, there's your halo light, and then now I have the halo light, and I just, when I was like, oh, just put the halo light on you, and then here I am, just gonna put the halo light. Here we are. We're just, for those of us who are going to watch this, it's the halo. So there we are. We are shining brightly.
Wait,
yes.
I just realized my mic's not plugged in. So the audio is going to be bad until I plug it in.
Okay, so she is going to leave, and I am going to do this podcast alone for one moment while she goes to do this. This is how we work in Dear Diary and the girl up there. So professional.
Fortunately,
all times.
I love it. I love that you just sang on that earlier, which now is being viewed and people are entertained by you singing.
Yes, I don't remember signing any waivers to the release of my vocals, but you know, I do anything for fame, so it's not like I would have said no if you'd asked. But I do think perhaps next year's wish list should include some voice training. That is some flat you posted out there of me. Thank you for that.
I just really enjoyed it was you singing Let It Go and Slam the Door, and then the boys flying behind you. It was a great moment. I think these are the moments of real life that happen for all of us that we just need to share every once in a while.
That's it. Like, that's the outtake, right? Like, the second I open the door, that has been like had a ear pressed up to it for the last hour while I've asked for silence. You open that door and you let the storm rage on.
All the energy of when we just say, okay, we just need a little bit of time. We're just going to podcast for a little bit. And then suddenly it's like, bah!
We gave you your little bit, but now you're going to pay for it.
Here we all are. The whole family's back.
The dog, the children, all in this tiny room.
Oh, Stephanie just kindly lit a candle for our podcast. She has learned so quickly how to work with one hand.
True. I'm virtually ambidextrous at this point.
Yes, you are. Stephanie had a skiing accident, and when she told me that she does not like to have athletic accidents, I mean, I do. It was a serious accident. When you were talking about you having athletic accidents, I had this vision of you with like a runner's headband and like you.
First athletic injury.
Yes, it's your first athletic injury.
Yeah, that's the beauty of not being an athlete or doing anything challenging, is that you rarely get injured. And so I was a little bit proud at first because I was like, look, I was being active. I did something that athletes do.
And then what happened?
I sprained my hand. It was a collision with my son. It was not dropping into some really cool double black diamond run. Those days are behind me. This was simply a Garner, put your goggles on. And as he attempted to adjust, veered in my direction, and to a point where I could not stop the collision. And then I yelled really loudly, and then I cried. I also happened to be right under a chairlift when it happened. So there was a lot of entertainment for people to watch as I dramatically executed my fall. Yeah, there was a bit of profanity towards my son, I regret, in the moment. And yeah, I really wanted him to feel really badly at the time. And then afterwards realized how wrong that was. And I apologized.
I think that's okay. I think we're going to look at your arm right now where you are wearing. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, can move these digits really easily now. Thumb's still in a bit of
and to
discomfort,
acknowledge that we as mums and dads out there as well, we have that moment where we are it is real to be angry and frustrated. And when you, just like you would another human, for some reason, we feel like we shouldn't have that with our children. And in that moment, when you have collided with somebody who wasn't doing probably the action they should have, you're frustrated and angry. So
yeah, allowed, right? It's
yes.
Allowed. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so he is no worse off from what I can tell. I don't think there's any deep trauma there that we're gonna have to work through. But if there is, I'm gonna sign him up for your kids course, because just work through that with him.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody about your new kids stuff?
I feel like this is what's so exciting now, is that every week there's something new.
You are just on fire. I mean, that is your song, given that your name is Cindy. Your song is This Girl Is on Fire.
That girl is on fire.
So tell them what's on fire this week, girl.
Yeah. I was sitting there last week, and this is really coming through a lot of meditations and having these extra times for myself to be still and writing. Obviously, only having one career right now is also allowing all of the work where I talk about having times to daydream and having times to sit in stillness. It's like I've been building this up for years, I think, and now it's all sort of actually funneling through. So I have my early childhood education and my degree in child and youth care, and trying to figure out a way of how do I incorporate that side of my background into the work that I'm doing now. And so all of the adults that I'm working with, and who are really trying to work on mindfulness and breath and meditation, and I wanted to do that work but with younger children, so that they're not kind of having to move backwards, that they're allowed to stay in the flow that they already know, if that makes sense. So it's called Mindful Me, and it's working with 3 to 5-year-olds, 3 to 6-year-olds, that sort of age group. And I've done it on a 7-week program based on our 7 chakras, just so that there is this overarching theme each week. And I don't want that to be the scary thing for centers, or scary thing for parents if they're overwhelmed with energy. That just is for me to give me a concept each week to go in with. But I've created children's meditations, different tools for the kids, very, very simplified, but ways for them to feel in control in environments, so that when they go into school or in their houses, that they'll be able to come back to themselves.
This excites me so much, really, because, if this is stuff we were all taught from the beginning, we'd probably be far more balanced humans in our adult life. And obviously this has been around for a long time, but this is not something that you see in the school systems right now, or the early education child or systems, unless, a specific center has a focus on that, but it is not anywhere close, right? Am I right here? As far as
No, it's just something that's definitely being discussed, and there's areas, right, where you'll see people wanting to do it, or they're trying to do like little mini meditations, but not larger scope, right? So that's where I know this is the time, this is what we need to do. And so I've got the idea for soul seeds for older children, but really it's the youngest, right? And that's where we're not seeing it. We're sort of seeing some things for our school age, but the youngest is where we can, where there's sponges to give it to them.
That's the time, right? And parents who have their kids in daycare aren't always able to prioritize that time to do it themselves at home. Even, obviously kids are learning by observation if that's the way you are, but so many of us haven't learned that skill.
Yeah.
Just live by, right? So of course, this is the way where to start it, right?
Yeah. And I was interesting because I had a small group of children that I was working with. Well, it's actually, I was taking photos in the summer, and this group of children, I was sitting with them and just talking about ways, I'm going to be real here. We were talking about how to take photos, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just in that moment saying, okay, you know what, if you do this, and if you hold your hands like this, and the conversations, even from that 40 minutes with these kids I still am thinking about it, how incredible, just sitting with those children and talking about ways of how they changed their bodies, if they held their hands like, with their fingers like this, and how then they were engaging and talking together. Huge.
Yeah.
So I just know how important it is. So I'm excited.
I think this is so great. And you're saying you're reaching out to childcare centers, but that you're also open to groups of parents that maybe want to get their kids together and do it privately. Your prices look very, very reasonable for a group class.
Yeah.
So I just think this is super exciting. I like if my kids were that age, I would have jumped on that opportunity so quickly. Like I just think that these are the tools, right? That
Thank you.
Set them up for success.
Here we go. I know there's just so much research about it, just about how, well, you've seen it right with us. I even see it if I sit there and just am still, or if I meditate, how much calmer I can be. And there's so much. I mean, we had a few weeks ago where she was talking about boundaries. We were talking about that, and how so many children in the States are dealing with anxiety, and they don't have enough counselors to even support the number of children who are in stressful situations right now. And so I just I listened to that and thought, we need this. And I work with so many teens now, and listening to them, it's beyond, like, it's not what you and I dealt with at all.
Yeah.
So anything we can do. And when I talk about things with them, to just say, okay, you know what, just if you could take 1 minute and slow yourself down, but they've got constant things being bombarded with them, and social media in a way that we don't use social media. It's just so much. So
it sounds exhausting. And I mean, obviously going through those years was not easy for us.
No.
So I just anticipating all those other pulls, stressors, and just us as parents being far different than our parents would have been in this lifetime. Like, this is a very drastic cultural change that that generation is going through. So we're all learning as we go, but let's try and nip it in the bud, as they say.
I know. Do you know, for so long I thought it was nip it in the butt.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's it hasn't been that long that I've known it was bud.
I'm glad that you thought.
You're welcome. You're not alone on that one. There's probably a lot of things I say incorrectly. Because I'm not a huge reader. I'm also we do rub off on each other a lot. But I think just because I don't particularly enjoy reading. I like audiobooks. I love learning, but for me, reading, it takes a lot of effort and I often fall asleep. So I think that because I don't visually see words being spelled,
Yes.
that I just hear them.
Yeah.
Slightly off.
I know.
And I mean, I think about nipping in the butt and I'm like, well, if I got nipped in the butt, sure, I'd be moving quick.
I know, because I just always like, oh
similar, yeah. Understood. Anyway,
I guess is it like it's nip it in the bud? Like, are you gonna pull the?
Well, like if you look at a flower.
Thank you, flower essence. Yes.
You took the bud before it bloomed off, then you weren't going to get the bloom.
Right. See, these are interesting things.
Now it does seem like a not a great analogy, because why wouldn't you want the flower to bloom? That's the best part of the plant.
Yeah.
So kind of seems like a negative thing when I explain. We probably have this all wrong.
I think we've been using the term incorrectly. So maybe we just need to nip it in the butt and make our own term.
Yeah, because that gets you moving quick. If
yeah.
You get nipped in the butt.
Just nip it in the butt.
If you nip it in the bud, then you've wrecked the beauty. So we need a new expression for when we want to use that expression in the future.
Exactly. These are our fun facts.
Woo! Going deep today.
Yep. All good things because there's nothing else going on.
Well, there is a story that I was hoping you would tell today, because you were watching Love Actually last night.
Oh, yes.
And you were reminded of a famous trip of ours to the great city of Las Vegas. And
yes.
And just what happened in one night. I feel like you just a great story for people to know.
I think it's a
opportunity story.
A great opportunity story. Not that they so I was let's just share. So I was watching Love Actually with my son. I do really appreciate when he lets me watch a rom-com. And I was reflecting on all the different ways that love can come in to, like, I mean, obviously that's the basis of the show, right? Mm-hmm. And looking at it, and I've really been trying to this month sit with how love fits in my life. How am I stopping it? Where am I stopping it? How am I letting it in? Just being really honest with myself. And so I was watching this movie and going and being honest and thinking about, gosh, I really have been quite open to the opportunity of love in my life, and in interesting ways, and how sometimes we as humans can stop opportunities, before because we want to know what the outcome will be, right?
Yes.
And so I've been talking to clients, and some of the clients will be like, well, I don't know if I want to leave a marriage because I don't know what the outcome will be, or I don't know if I should go into that relationship because I don't know what the outcome will be.
Yeah. What
if? Yeah. And my response to them is always, we never know what if. Like, we never actually ever know anything, which is an interesting idea. And so I was thinking about this one example, because you and I had gone to Vegas. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have. And we've gone a few times. And there's always interesting stories. But on this trip we had gone, and we wanted to sit down. So I was the one responsible for finding us.
Yeah. Hook us up with some seats because you can only get seats if you get bottle service. And we were certainly not interested in the bottle service.
Yes.
We just wanted to sit down for a minute between dancing.
Yes.
And,
And so there were
maybe
these
a drink or
two.
two. That's it.
That's
But
it. So there were
being,
these.
being happily married,
Yes.
you were tasked with the.
I was responsible. And so
for fear of anyone else looking like they were interested. Yes.
There were these two gentlemen, and there they were. And I just asked if we could sit down because my feet hurt. And I remember at the time saying, "Don't worry, we'll leave when you want the other girls to come. We just want to sit down for a few minutes."
Like literally not interested. Anything else. We just
need
want to sit down.
Sit. And they found us very entertaining, and we ended up spending the entire night with these guys. And I still remember taking my shoes off and ice on the ground so that my feet
yeah, we danced on ice cubes.
We danced on ice cubes.
Okay.
And anyway, it ended up like the night ended up being 5 a.m. right? It was one of the true
The sun was up. The sun was up when we left. Yep.
And in like one of those like romantic moments where I had obviously connected with one of these people, I remember just being so exhausted and staring at him to say like, okay, well, it was lovely. I guess I'll never see you again, because he lived in Africa as well as Portugal. And I was like, okay, bye.
Skipping a jump away.
Skipping a jump away. And I remember though, there was this moment like I really did feel a connection with that person. That's going to be a hard thing to get over, but oh well, okay. And the next day he just had sent notes, and we just started, and it was like this, well, what's the point in sending notes to this person? I don't understand, but we did. And it was like a month later, he offered to fly me to Portugal.
Come visit me.
Come visit me in Portugal. And I just,
the connection was very two-sided.
Yes, yes. And so I immediately just said yes. And I know to many people that just would seem so bizarre. And I know to my mom that was a interesting decision for me to go on a 5-day trip to Portugal.
Yeah. I mean, really, like in anybody's mind, like other than your own, this has bad idea written all over it. Yeah. Like you would, if anybody else, any other person had come to you with the same situation, be like, what are you doing?
Yes. Yes.
You've known this man for 24 hours. You can't fly across the country by yourself.
Yeah. And there I went.
and off you went.
And I just remember really having to like, obviously I knew and we had talked throughout those months, and trusting my own intuition and not letting fear overtake my intuition in that moment, and going with it, and also knowing I was going to learn so many things, because we want to know that the outcome is going to be that this person is going to be my everything, or this is going to mean then, what will that end result be? Do you know what I mean? We have all these typical expectations, like if you're going to make this trip, then this is, ABC is going to equal D or whatever, right?
Right. If I'm going to make this effort, then there will be some sort of build up, or not build up, but conclusion to my efforts.
Yes. And so I looked at that trip of all the things that I was able to learn, of trusting myself, of going far away on my own, going to meet a person, spending these days together. We had such an incredible time learning things together too. And at the end, basically, I mean, it was a very typical sad, like, don't turn around, walk away kind of.
Yeah. Very, very movie.
Very movie-esque.
Yeah.
But now, and that was it. Obviously you're not ever going to see the person, well, might see them, but you're not going to ever have a dynamic, I think was the conclusion. But I I think I would have, if I had said goodbye at Vegas and never seen or talked to him again, I would have always wondered what would have happened with that person that I'd met that night in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And now the story is so concluded, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so
you had to take a chance.
Yes.
To figure out, or to just have your make the conclusion. Yeah,
yes. And I think that's
story.
the thing of what we often stay and we create this story in our head without actually finishing out that chapter, because we're so worried that the ending won't be what we want. I don't know if that makes sense.
But you still, at the same time, you knew you had to do that.
I had to do it. Yes.
And you had probably some expectations.
Yep.
Upon departure that were different than when you left, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like your knowing of what was going to happen was definitely not there. But
yes.
At the same time, you had to go to know.
Yes.
You had to go to know. Yeah.
You had to go to know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a great example of you being so good at listening to that intuition.
Well,
right? Like this was before this was your career.
Yes. Yeah, I was doing Reiki. Yeah, but not all the rest of it. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think those are the lessons, like when I look at things for people who are wanting things, like those are the part of the things where the universe comes and shows you something to say, like, this is something else to teach you, like how you're going to build your confidence. How are you going to start to trust yourself? All of those stories that get created on who you're going to become in your own way, if that makes sense. And
right? Yeah, the trust in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when people are wondering about those parts of themselves, it doesn't have to be that they have to get on a plane.
It doesn't have to be quite that Hollywood.
No. But there's lots of things that end up showing up in our lives every day. Like that can be very similar to that. And we will always turn our head the other way and go like I could never say yes to that. Or oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. And it's just simply by turning your head that way, it's like a whole other opportunity.
Yes. And this is why you were such a good teacher. Because you've been there. You've been in the place of not trusting the intuition.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So. It's so good. Yeah. I know these, I know we talked about Bliss Space last time I was on, but it is, we're in the new year now and just keeps coming. Like all the little golden nuggets and these journal prompts and these, the dream book. Like I'm just loving it. And it's such great accountability that unfortunately I don't have for myself in working on my soul. And it's it's not like I'm following like I'm not like the A+ student trying to do it all. It's just there's just that little nudge every day for you to work on yourself, and it's easy. It's not hard. It's not overwhelming. We had that lovely connection over Zoom this morning, and it's nice to have the first one done, and now everybody kind of has an idea of what to expect, but you never know where it's going to turn either, right? Like I think the more we build on it, it'll be so cool. And I think that, like you say, some of those people are not super comfortable coming on to Zoom, and they need to just kind of hopefully take that little chance to see what happens.
I know, because we and I know I talked to a few people after, so they're definitely more people I think are keen to jump on now that they know that one happened. And like we talked about today, I think, yeah, these just gentle nudges, right? Which I often go like, oh, am I bombarding them? And maybe I shouldn't put in another one. Maybe I should give them a week off of texts. And then I think, okay, no, good, they're okay. But also to know, as we talked about today, which I said, and then as I was saying it, I was like, oh, that's actually a good idea. Like sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying, if that makes sense. So I'm talking to all of you, and we were talking about journal prompts, and you were saying like you like to have time to write in your journal.
Yeah.
And then I had said, well, even reading your journal is actually enough. Like
Reading the question.
reading the journal question.
Or the prompt. Yeah.
Yeah, the journal prompts. And then that's enough. Because, and I thought, oh yeah, that's actually a good thing for everyone to hear, because sometimes you don't, like, I know for me, when I wrote those, I wrote them and then I've been thinking about them a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't written back. And so for people to know that, like, okay, good, thinking about it.
Because I thought about it, but I didn't actually write it down. And I am definitely that person. Like the prompt I did last night was, what is your arguing style and how do you feel in conflict and whatnot, and which is almost exactly the way that I journal, in that I think about it ahead of time, rehearse it all, and then I spew it out. You know? So it's almost like it is nice to get that final bit on paper, and then it feels complete and digested. But yeah, if you don't get to that stage, it's okay. The thoughts all came to you anyway. You still had to sit down and think about it. You know, you might have been driving at the time, or or dreaming. Like some people were saying that came up in dreams for them. And it's just, that's all the work, right? That's kind of what you were saying this morning, was that you're doing the work, regardless of if it's the manner I've laid out or.
Yes. And that's what I think is so good, is that everybody together, what I was saying too, is like this invisible line, right? And so even though Stephanie, you're in your house and somebody else is in her house, because we've now created this intention of all of us together, there is actually this huge energy of us working together, which I think is so magnetic. So when I'm getting somebody sending me a note saying I'm doing this and you're working on yours, Bliss Space is now building all of this energy and support together, which I think is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, that is how energy works, right? Like it's all just putting it out there, so it's coming back. Somebody's feeling a little vulnerable, but that's what we want. We're going there, and so anyway, it's been really enjoyable.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's funny, this morning before the call, I just had this fleeting thought, and I was like, oh, I hope she talks about signs. Everybody loves it when she talks about signs. And then of course I wasn't going to say, can you talk about signs? But you pull a card at the end, or symbols, I guess. Symbols. Anyway, and I was like, yes,
she did. And that is so good to know. So we can talk about signs at the next call.
Yeah. I was also going to be like, can you pull a card? Can you pull a card before we all go? I want a card.
I love it.
Like, I better not pull the best friend card and manipulate it to.
Can we please pull a card?
Just do it. Can this just be a one-on-one session for me? And I tell you everything to do.
It's so funny. Oh yes, it's so fun. I'm just having so much fun. I can totally tell I am in my zone.
You are in the flow so much right now. So much. I mean, how it's I mean, I just don't know how you did it all before, but this is, I see, so hear from you more. I see you more. And less frustration means in my inbox.
It's not
much, it's good for me too. You're good, I'm good.
It's not like I hate.
Happy life wife. Happy wife. Something
So
like
true.
something like that. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, but yeah, no, and it's just, yeah, January's been a bit of a rock start, really. So just having that to focus the positive energy on, the negative energy on, whatever, just working through it a little bit, as opposed to just festering in Netflix and wine, and leftover Christmas candy.
Yeah.
It's a far better place.
It's starting to create, as we've learned today, that the actual energy year is starting April 1st, which
No joke.
no joke.
Better not be a freaking joke, Jessica. Better not be a joke. I don't know where you live, but I know how to find you on WhatsApp, Instagram. So
WhatsApp. So
what? WhatsApp. It's my Portuguese accent. WhatsApp.
He's gonna, yeah. Should that person ever listen to this? This is entertaining for us. But no, so she had said that it is April 1st is our new technical energetic year. January and February are supposed to be extremely rough, which as we've talked on previous podcasts, I had a feeling, and then Jessica had said the same thing. So I think a lot of people are finding that this time is really, really heavy anyway. So having something for us to focus on, even if it's just to look at it or little reminders to get us through, is so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is. The energy is it's like, you know what, it's always kind of like this in January, right?
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
the holidays are over, and it's not a whole lot to look forward to right now, and
795 days in January. It's like forever.
Right. Like it's and then for Jessica, who we keep referencing, the numerologist, Jessica Serrato, she is she's like, yeah, no, it's based on the date. So I'm like, oh, right. Like, I guess the year influences though as well, maybe, I don't know, but she basically described it as, this being like the time of spades, and spades being like a shovel, and you're basically just shoveling crap for a little while. And I was like, well, that's the visual that wraps it all up in a nice little bow. So
but I just think when you hear it and it says, then it's like, okay, yeah,
validation.
It totally is.
Numbers.
It's just, that's exactly what it is. It makes perfect sense. I see it now. I got it.
Basically numerologists.
Just get a
pretty much. No, but it shouldn't be so mind-blowing that all intuitives have roughly the same thoughts about energy.
I know,
but it is
interesting, right? Like I know when I'd shown you that chart where I had written, so, this is actually really exciting too, Stephanie. So, Jessica and I are going to start a live. We're calling it On the Tip of Your Tongue, and you can call in, but Jessica and I will be there. I'm going to be do feeling. She's going to do numbers, and then we'll do your, right?
I do love this.
I know, because I was like, well, how
Very
great
exciting.
is that? So something for you, so you can call in, and then I'll just be like, and it's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't get it, and then we're gonna help you out.
Okay.
So you
like not burning questions.
So no, like, so it'll just be like, you might have a burning question, but you'll be calling in, like, let's say Stephanie, you're calling in and it's on Monday. So Jessica will know the numbers for Monday. I'll be there and I'll be looking at you. You might have a question, or you're trying to sort something, and we're going to figure out how we can sort that based on her with numbers and me with feeling to support that person.
But I don't tell you my question.
I don't know if that's what we're trying to figure out, how we get it. Like, what do we do? Do we draw a card for somebody? And that's card, I see the card. So that's what we're working on.
That's so exciting.
I know. Because
So exciting.
I know, because that I think you're right. It's figuring out that we are all these different people using intuition in a different way. And when we come together, like Jessica and I always do, her way is so different from mine, but we come up with the exact same results.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, you've been to other intuitives prior to being, I mean, you still go to intuitives, but
yes.
I mean, they all kind of roughly told you the same thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So anyway, I know that this shouldn't still be so exciting and wowing, but it is. It is. It doesn't make sense that you can have that your mind is that powerful.
I know.
It's just
it's a fascinating thing, which is why every day when I'm like, oh my God, how did that just happen?
I don't know that. And I'm like, well, you're intuitive. You just, isn't that, it's like your title? But still shocking.
Yeah. For all of us, which I think is the way it should stay.
Yeah. Because really, if we we say that, our phones and computers are really taking over our brains, but computers can't do this.
No, trust me, because I hate my computer every single day.
I know. And like I was like, she's got to just use her intuition. She can figure this out. And you do. Generally, it will help you, right?
Yes. But I find that if there is too much going on, I can't sort everything all at one time. And so then I'm like, nope, can't do it. Just can't do it.
Like, remember the time you lost your keys?
No.
You lost your keys for like a really long time. Like you had to like take a bus to work and stuff. And I remember they had like a crystal keychain on them. And you had your like adult fort in your room at the time. And you were like, I'm just sitting here in my adult fort. And I turn my house upside down and I get on my stupid keys. And I was like, okay, just be quiet for a second and use your intuition. But you gotta know where they have a freaking crystal attached to them. And then you were like, just sound them. And I was like, see?
Yes,
be quiet for a second.
Totally forgot that. And that's because that's it. When we panic and overthink, which is what we do. And I do remember that.
They were in the fort. Weren't they? Didn't you find them under a bunch of blankets in the fort?
Yes. Yeah. Love that I had an adult fort, everybody.
Just a reminder to anyone who forgot about the adult fort.
You all forgot that I'd had an adult fort. Yeah. But that and so that's where it's, as soon as you get silent with yourself, that's when the answers come. And so I tend to, with technology, and it's usually when there's other people, I'm like, I'm trying to make this okay for everyone.
Yeah.
But suddenly I'm like, there's so many things. There's so many.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it, right? Like the planning part of our brain shuts off as soon as we go into fight or flight. It's just,
so I'm like, I'm numb. So
like,
we're all just
gonna have a quick meditation. And iTunes close. But how hard is it to do that? You're like, oh, there's 25 people waiting for me right now, or more on a live. You're like, it's just hard to just be like, don't look at me.
Nobody look at me while I meditate and try to figure out where this strange noise is coming from.
Instead, everybody please just ignore the strange noise. We're just going to work through it. Which we did.
1 hour.
Test 1, test.
For 1 whole hour during our first Zoom, everyone had to listen to check. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. Which really, it wasn't that big a deal. But it just blows me away that I know you always have the answers.
Yes.
In time.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Right. Like, that is just insane.
Well, we all do.
Yes, okay, we can all walk too, but some of us are Olympic walkers or sprinters, gold medalists. So, within reason, we can all do this.
Mhm.
We're not all Olympians.
Yes.
We're not all pro athletes. Some of us just walk and we do it to the best of our abilities. We try not to fall down or crash into our children while we're doing it. But yeah, so are just gushing again over our favorite friend. It's just so hard to not ask you everything all the time. Hey, Cindy, am I going to get sick after my COVID?
I know. Well, those kind of questions you can ask. Stephanie has frozen right now.
Think about it. You're smiling.
No, it's just because you
put your hands up and just do the thing. Oh.
It's just because you froze, so I had to remain.
Read about answering the question. Yeah, it says conference.
There she is. She's back.
Okay. Yeah. So it was funny. We're at dinner tonight, and Carter asked a question. I don't remember what it was now. I'm trying to think. But like something about like how long is something. And Dan's like, Dad's not Auntie Cindy. He can't answer that question. It's like, it's true, Dan. Only Auntie Cindy can answer those types of questions.
Yeah. I love that.
So I thought that was cute.
I know, that's like we're sitting here the other day, and then Chase was just like, where is da, 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 and I was like, I don't know. He's like, use your mind. And I was like, okay.
Can you just help me? Like, oh, I mean, you should totally not have to do that all the time. I mean, really, people need to figure their shit out. But yeah, it is. Just think like, wow, that's crazy that the answer is there if she wants to give it.
It was just so funny. I was just like,
or if you should hear it.
Yeah, it was just so funny. I was like, oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Let's try that. So yeah, even today.
And did you figure it out?
Yeah, we got it.
We / you.
Yeah. Well, you do forget, right? Because I don't.
The witch over there figured it out.
The witch. Well, you forget because I don't use it that way very often, right? It's not the way. I don't think to use it that way. Like, so somebody had asked me a question about a missing item, and I was like, oh, yeah, look in the drawer next to the which, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't even think to use it that way.
Right.
And so, yeah, I really ought to.
Well, yeah, I mean, or maybe not. I don't know. Like, what is what the best way to live is? Like, always living intuitively, or letting your.
Well, I have to let it rest, right? But I think every once in a while, it's like, oh yeah, I could just do that. Like,
yeah, it would be very hard.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
Well, it's just you go back to what your baseline is, right?
Yes.
Relax.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's why I say I'll never get stranded with you anywhere, because I would just sell your services to anyone on the side of the road. I apologize if I've said this before on a podcast. I just think if we ever got stranded and lost, or somebody stole our wallets, we couldn't get home, I'd be like, would you like her to tell you your future? I bet you she knows what your dad's name is for $20. I'll tell you. Or like, you know, that I would just like basically turn you into a busker and we'd be able to get ourselves out of any situation.
You're right. It could totally work.
So that's
We're
a backup plan.
always
if we ever
fine.
get our wallets stolen.
Don't worry.
Or, you know, our
Cindy's
phones.
got it covered.
Something. She exactly like you are just so much talent. Put her anywhere. You just put a hat down and away she goes. You just shout things at people.
That's like Chase says he's looking at
Call your mom.
Chase is looking at the website the other day and he's like, is that the magic hat from New Year's Eve from the dollar store like 5 years ago? And I'm like, yeah. Like, do you know how much use that magic hat has now been? And it is on every photo. It's great.
That is you know, not everything has to have value, sentimental value, yes, but you know, things from the dollar store,
Yeah.
they got some clout.
No, I got a wand and a magic hat.
I mean, the photos would not reflect the fact that your props are from the dollar store. I'll tell you that much. They're beautiful photos. So
I know. So yeah.
fake it till you make it, as they
That's
say.
all you got to do.
No, you can't replace that magic hat now. It's
Never.
famous. Hopefully the dollar store has more if you ever lose it.
If something should happen, there are two, one for you and one for me. So we're okay.
Oh, from the circus costumes.
Yes.
You picked up an extra one for me then. I forgot about that.
Just so you know, we were wearing those circus costumes last January, so we're rounding back again.
Anniversary of the circus costume.
This time again.
Remember when they were just your bedspread for a little while?
I know.
Just because they made you happy.
Yeah. The classic part of that was, again, I'll bring out another male. Still remember
I
that.
wasn't gonna go there, but I'm glad you are. Yeah.
I'm gonna go there. 2 costumes out, and he came over here to use my bathroom and said, "Didn't know you had a daughter." That's my best friend's costume. Oh.
Oh, yeah. Her daughter is in her 40s, pretty much. Oh, yeah. The mini me. The mini me version of this costume.
So good.
That thing was tight. I mean, it is tight. Yeah, it's pretty small. Yeah, it's tiny.
Really time for those costumes to come out
again. Perhaps with tutus.
Yes. Maybe
for 2022. Yeah.
Yes.
And the magic hat. Adapted.
That is a great idea.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Photos coming soon, folks.
Photos arriving. 2022.
Oh,
I love it. Oh, well, thank you for another great chat.
As always, my pleasure.
Yes. And I will see you soon for Circus Tutus.
Okay, love you.
Love you.